Welcome back to Black Clover Anime Review, episode 76. I was going to do Case Closed, but I figured out I really don't want to skip basically doing this next day for the series, so let's just review Black Clover. This is reviewing the 120th anime, which is called Clover, and the 204th chapter of the manga, Cinderella Gray. Now, before I talk about the episode itself, I actually heard something quite interesting, though, about the Black Clover anime. In 7 months, in October, the anime is going on hiatus. Yes, it is. I was quite surprised to hear about this. Yeah, the anime is going on hiatus. Well, there's probably a good reason, because they probably almost caught up to the manga. That's my personal guess, the reason why they want to basically put this series in hiatus. It's actually a pretty good reason, in my opinion. But after this particular arc, so what they're going to do, they're basically going to do an arc, an original arc, where they're going to explore what exactly happened during the 6-month time skip, which I think is actually a really good idea. And the creator of this series is actually working with Studio Pierrot to do this. Now, the reasoning why, there's another theory why they put in hiatus, so that Studio Pierrot can have a complete focus on adapting Bleach. Yes. When I heard about the news adapting, when they're going to basically bring back Bleach, I was so freaking happy. And the fact they're adapting a 1,000-year Blood War arc. 1,000-year Blood War arc, which is a very long arc. And I do agree with basically what people want to see from it. Fixing the problems the arc had. Yeah. But that's all I gotta say with news when it comes to the anime, because I don't really share much news when it comes to Black Clover anime, aside from like whatever arc they adapt. But I'm looking forward to basically what they're going to do for the anime original arc, basically, which is to explore the 6-month time skip. The episode itself, how they adapt the stuff in this episode is quite interesting. They pretty much adapt 123, and they put 122, and this is quite interesting though. What they adapt for this episode is the last page of chapter 121, the entirety of 122 and 23, but here's something quite interesting though. They actually put the stuff from 122 in the last page of 121. They kind of put toward it's like mostly start off with basically 123 to start off with for most of the episode, and then like toward the what would be like toward the end of the chapter for 123, they put in there the entirety of chapter 122. Now, episode starts off basically Yami telling Gordon, hey, go to your house and ask your family help with curses. Okay, so Gordon brings Asta, Gray, and Goosh, just like it is in the manga. And there's actually a change here. Yes. Yeah, this episode, there's a boatload of changes visually wise. Some of whom actually make perfect sense to do. Now, they start when they arrive at Gordon's house. This opening sequence, when they arrive at the house, it's exactly the same. No change here. The first change you notice, basically, watch the episode if you read the manga, is that when they open up the doors and they show basically his family, present exactly the same. They actually add something quite interesting though. They had Gordon introducing his family to his friends, his father, his mother, his sister, his grandmother, and of course their dog. Asta introduces himself and uses Gray and Goosh. And Goosh pretty much points out, like, okay, why all these people have the same face? And how is it that Gordon's parents basically have the same exact face? The reason is never explained. It's particularly, aren't you just was not delivered? Why do you have the same face for? Yeah, it's particularly very weird. And here's kind of the thing. They also add some stuff here. They come inside for dinner, and here's basically the first change they make. Now, in the manga, they actually show that there's this like big turkey that basically Gordon's mother prepares. It looks like it already been eaten, like already you see bones. In the anime, it's looked like it has not even touched yet at all. Mostly put the scene was presented exactly the same. There's a few minor changes made to this thing. Like, for instance, Gordon asking not once but twice to talk to his father about the whole stuff related to curses and the devils. He tries to ask first, but gets interrupted first by his grandmother basically acting completely senile, who thinks that Goosh is her son Nathan, who is Gordon's father, and then they walk off to. It looks like when you see in the manga, it looks like they're walking to a wall. Luck of the anime changes this to where they take out the wall that was there and make it like a pitch black hallway. I think, in my opinion, this was a terrific change because it looks like the characters are walking to a wall. And then they added a sequence here, which was actually not from the manga, where they have Gordon's sister Roxanne. Yeah, that's her name, Roxanne. Now, the names of these people are, his father's name is Nathan, his mother's name is Jonah, his sister's Roxanne, his mother's name is Nadita, and their dog's name is Nurali, which, that's a strange name for a dog. And I thought this was so funny, though. Like, first it's biting Asta in the butt, and then basically the dog is automatically in Gordon's arms. Which, that was actually not in the manga. They completely added it in. And the way that Roxanne gets excused on the table, basically she slams her hand on the table. Now, before she does this, she gives Gray basically like a ball with eyes. And, like, I agree, friends. Yeah, because in the manga, she actually doesn't hardly get any lines at all when she appears in this chapter. Yeah, her lines for this episode are all complete anime original because originally within the manga, she had no lines. The only characters who had lines who appeared in this chapter from Gordon's family is just basically his parents and his grandmother. His sister had no lines at all. And is it just me, or does this girl look almost exactly like Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family? I mean, same hairstyle, same style dress, which I thought that was interesting. I'm surprised no one has pointed out, though, about this. And is it also just me, or is that Gordon's family is almost exactly like the Addams family? Because if you look at them, like, Gordon's father, Nathan, has got a similar resemblance to Gomez. His mother's kind of like Morticia, but not in the creepy spider way like she is presented normally. Now, there is no butler here. And it's unknown what type of house. Now, it's mentioned that basically Gordon's family's specialty is curses, and never curse people to death. That's their specialty. And Gordon mentioned he ran away. What is not mentioned, though, about Gordon is that why does it look like he's wearing a uniform? Yeah, that by far is still explained in this series. And then, of course, Jonah, basically, Roxanne just slaps hands on the table, says, thanks for the meal, and leaves. And then you don't see her again for the rest of the episode. And then, basically, Gordon finally asks, can you tell us about curses? And everybody's like, he's like, sure. And I was like, that was easy. Now, yeah. And they show his father's shop, which, wow. It's like Studio Para looked at the scene in the manga, it's like, ugh, that looks too creepy through showing in the anime. Let's tone this down and give it all the blood and guts, basically. Because if you read this chapter 123, there's like blood all over the place. I'm like, what the heck is this? When I originally read this chapter last year. And thank God the anime really... Now, the walls look very similar to how it was in the manga. The table looks completely different. The table just has like a knife, a skull. It still looks creepy. But not like the butcher shop like it was presented in the manga. Like, oh my gosh. Thank you, Studio Para, for fixing this scene, because I'm sure a lot of people were really freaked out by this scene. Of course, this workshop, this laboratory, does look creepy. But not as creepy as the manga. Thank you. And then something kind of odd happens. Like, then, of course, you have Nathan throw his, like, cursed fingers. Now, for some reason, his grimoire looks similar to Asta's. Is that his grimoire has something to do with devils? Not really, no. It's just basically the curse magic. And he throws like his nails out. Of course, Asta blocks him. And he pokes Asta in the neck. Tells the temperature. Melties. Mentions, of course, he has no magic. Of course, people know that since the start of the series. And then something interesting happens. Now, in the manga, they go straight to basically the next scene. This whole thing basically leading into toward the end of the very arc. Here's something that did make a change here. They actually put in here like the whole sequence of Noelle and Dorothy, which is from chapter 122, the entirety of that chapter. Plus, of course, that last page, chapter 121, where you first see Dorothy, who's awake, and she is throwing debris in another dimension. Now, I should point out one thing about Dorothy. She looks almost exactly like the professor woman from Harry Potter and the Harry Potter series, the one who's the professor of biology. It's like she's a spitting image of her, except she looks like she's about 20 years younger. I don't know if the actual writer of the series probably based Dorothy on her, and she's probably named after probably Dorothy, Wizard of Oz. But this is the first episode I have seen where she actually speaks. Yes, that's something interesting about Dorothy. The entire time you see her, the whole series, with the exception of her under the influence of the elf reincarnation, she has never spoken a word the entire series. Every single time you see her, she's always sleeping. Every single time. I'm like, doesn't anything wake up this woman? Apparently she's awake. She basically is first seen saying to breathe no dimension. And of course her subordinates basically very happy about that. And then we have basically Noelle coming to ask Dorothy about her mother. Now, the sequence itself, now this is I thought was quite interesting though. Like the portion where the page ends for 121, that's where they have a commercial break. And they come back, and of course she asks, of course they have a flashback, something that did not happen in the manga. And there's a few changes here, where she talks to Noelle about basically what happened with her mother, and then she talks to Dorothy. She says, go ask Captain Dorothy about it. And she goes talk to Dorothy, and you go to the Grimoire world, and most of the sequence, like right this, is presented mostly the same. The only change they make here is when they show her late mother. Now, in the manga, we see her basically, you see her completely naked. In the anime, they actually cover up with the black magic stuff to sort of censor it. Yeah, I think that was actually a pretty good idea. That's a minor visual change. And of course, they do mention exactly what was the name of the devil who actually killed her. Magicana. Yes. Which, that was actually set up for this arc. Because there's a character whose devil is that particular one. Unknown if this one is actually responsible for killing Noelle's mother. Acer. Yeah, that's something quite interesting about Noelle's mom. Her name has barely been mentioned the whole series. And apparently her first name was Acer, like Acer. That's her first name. Like, that's an odd name for a woman in a fiction. Yes, I've heard of weirder names. Heck, there's a woman named Mine. Yes, from the series Akame Gotta Kill. Yeah, her name is Mine. That's not a joke. Her name is Mine. Yeah, that was a series I kind of felt as though that the writer really ran out of names. It's like basically he scrapped the bottom of the barrel for some of these characters' names. Yep. And of course, well, the sequence itself mostly, like aside from that one visual change, it's been mostly the same. The only other change they make is basically, well, first they show like an image of Asta, and of course viewers have known she's got a thing for Asta. And of course she has them away. Then of course you have Nozel. Of course he gets out of the way too. And they actually added a sequence. And actually, this is actually a change from the manga, because when you briefly see him in the actual chapter, he's like looking at like thinking like, huh? And he's like a bird, and there's a person near him, and that's it. It's a brief, tiny little thing. In the anime, you actually see him walking in a hallway. Well, walking a side hallway that leads outside. And he's like, what was that chill? That was actually not in the manga. Complete anime original line, because Nozel, who actually did appear in this chapter in the manga, but he had no lines at all. All his lines, like in the case of Roxanne's lines, are complete anime original. Yep. And then of course that's when she mentions Magicana. And then we cut straight back to Gordon's house, which apparently a day has passed by since then, which I thought that was weird, because in the manga they go straight to the sequence where basically Nathan just basically creates a map of the Clover Kingdom, shows basically the hideout. They had a few more lines here where they mentioned like, oh, the place is cursed. And it's like they mentioned Luck, they mentioned Fenrir, they mentioned Vanessa. I was pointing out it probably is Henry. who's that? And they all agree the Black Willows are weird. And then they show the Heart Kingdom, which apparently has got a big curse mark on it. And in case you're wondering, what is this set up for? This is set up for the end of the arc. That's the whole point of this particular sequence. It just set up for the last few chapters of the arc. Which it looks like we're going to go to the very next episode. Which also features Return of Mimosa. Which I think this is the first time since, like, kind of the start of the arc she's been seen. It's been the first time a few episodes let's see her. But I love the fact we're going to see her again. Which, of course, is really good. I gotta say, overall, the episode's really good. I think the changes actually were very appropriate. Yeah. And, yeah, great episode. Now on to new chapter of the manga. Great. First we start off with Asta fighting the leader of the Dark Triad, using his magic basically to fight back and forth. Yeah, the chapter's called Cinderella Grey. And then we see basically her kind of mourning over Goosh. And then we get her flashback sequence where she's got a Cinderella. Pretty much she's kind of like Cinderella. She's got Cinderella's backstory. Where she's got these evil stepsisters, which... Okay. I'm thinking though, I'm looking at these sisters. These sisters look almost exactly like Noah's sister. But that's the writer of the series for he like we're using faces. That's him. And yeah, so apparently Grey is Cinderella. So yeah, she's got a stepmother, stepsisters, and apparently she's embarrassed. And like trying to show off their magic. And then she's kind of like thrown out of the house because they're in their face. So she basically runs into some bandits who want to do something to her. And then she's saved by Goosh and Marie. And she's like, thank you. Don't get the right idea. Don't get the wrong idea. I only rescue you because Marie wanted me to. You okay, miss? You're so kind, Marie. Perfect angel. You're the angel who dedicated my little angel Marie. Yeah. I get the fact she's adorable, but... And he basically thanks. And of course she says, thank you for saving Gucci. Anything for you, Marie. Yeah, it's kind of hinted at that. It's kind of hinted in this chapter that Grey might have a thing for Goosh. Yeah. And he's like, if you're not committed to running away, go home already. If you're not prepared to get anything on your own with 2 hands, we'll survive with and the dirty wood like this one. And we get a chance to see her basically look like she scrubbed stuff. She kind of when she first joined that Black Bulls. I want to save you, Goosh, and it's embarrassing, but I want you to look at me more. Now that I'm stronger. Yeah, this kind of hints at the fact she's in love with him. Yeah, it's a hint. And apparently she closes his wound. Yeah. And Vanessa's like, Grey? Because the wound is closed. Grey, you. Huh? Asta basically gets knocked down. He's like, fantastic. Who knew I thought I'd have another stage? Your powers are wasted. You two come be my women. And Vanessa's like, heck no. Grey says nothing in the map, but she probably doesn't want to. And the chapter ends something very awesome. Then we see a black line drawn in the ground, and it's drawn by Yami. It's like, hey, what are you trying to pull? Nobody messes with my people. Yeah, great to see Yami, and here's a character who, even after time skip, it looks like he just put on. It looks like he got much more muscular in the time skip. Otherwise, though, that's the only change I see for him. He's a lot more buffer than he was previously. But it's finally happened. Yami finally has shown up post time skip. Great chapter. It's interesting though. Asta sort of got beaten, but I don't think he's out of the fight yet. And I'm glad the fact that the Raider did not kill off Goosh. I think the Raider knows Goosh. Basically, he probably has plans for him. He probably teased killing him off, but there's probably more plans for him. And here's something. I think that he's also hinting at. I mean, it's hinted at in this chapter that Grey may have a thing for Goosh. Would I mind these two hook up with each other? I wouldn't personally mind it at all. These two probably make a great couple. Yep. But who knows, okay? I give this chapter a 9 point, at least a, I was given 9.5 because Yame showed up, 10 out of 10. Yes. It's like, it was going to end basically with simply a good chapter. If Yame had not showed up, I would have given 9.5, but because he showed up, it's a 10. That's the only reason why, because Yame finally shows up. And he's a freaking badass. There's no denying it. Yeah. And he's personally one of my favorite characters Christopher Saba has voiced. Why? Because Saba makes him basically so hilarious. With his witty dialogue. The fact he can under the skin of several people, including the woman who's actually one of the two women in love with him. Like, he can get under their skin like, no wonder you can't get a man. Yeah. And this happened during the I Midnight Sun arc. Yeah, that's why he's one of my personal favorite characters in the series, because he is such an awesome character. Yep. And in case you're wondering, has this character been fully developed in the series? Well, we mostly have explored the guy's backstory a bit, but here's kind of the strange thing. They've never explained where he came from at all. It's hints that he's from Japan because he carries a katana, but it could be, based on his appearance, he could be American, who was born in Japan. It's possible, but they've never actually mentioned exactly where he came from. They mention he's a foreigner, but where he's came from is actually never explained at all, which I hope they do explain at some point. Maybe they might have in their light novel. Who knows? Yep, so that's it for this particular review. My next review, hopefully, if I got time to do, a review of the 17 Case Ghost film. Okay? See you in the next video. Bye.